Hi, welcome to Business Influencers. Hope everyone is having a great week. Again, we want to thank you each and every week joining us here at Business Influencers. Again, the show continues to grow each and every week because of you. And we are listening to you, the listeners, each and every week when you send in requests as to types of content you would like to see on the show. We are listening, and we're making sure that we reach out to subject matter experts that can bring their A game in helping you to raise your level of influence and take your business to the next level. If you have any questions or would like to provide any input for future shows, feel free to reach out to us at chris@christophersalem.com. And our show is being brought to you today by Alumni Direct. Alumni Direct is a new social media community platform dedicated to bringing alumni together from all different generational types and an opportunity to also to meet new people. And this is a great platform in that it is a paid platform, meaning it takes all the noise out of social media, giving you an opportunity to generate genuine and authentic relationships with the people you choose to have conversations with and share content across the board. They also offers a wide array of different services not available to the general public. And if you would like to find out more information about Alumni Direct, check them out at alumnidirect.com. That's alumnidirect.com. Well, we have a great show for you today. We're going to be talking about a clear path to heal. And as you know here, we cover a wide array of different topics around resilience and courage and prosperity and so on. Well, you're in a treat for today. We're going to be talking with Britt Ivy. She is the courage coach, and a little information that I will talk about her in that she is doing some miraculous things here. She's born and raised in California. Her greatest passion next to Jesus was spending endless hours with her suds, and showing her Stanford stables. After completing college at UCSB and Stanford, she headed back to work to Silicon Valley for CNN News Radio and CBS TV. Asked to co-host Creative Encounters, a local TV talk show, Britt then launched her own talk show, Passion. As producer and host for 15 years, she enjoyed interviews with world-class authors, actors, musicians, politicians, artists, and influencers. In 2015, she published her first book, Beyond My Dreams, a loving tribute to her father. Today, she is the courage coach. She helps others recognize and heal from real PAT, post-abortion trauma, which you're going to learn more about that, and by guiding individuals through a time-based healing process, suffering transformed into freedom. And I could keep going on. And without further ado, we welcome Britt Ivy to the show. Britt, how you doing today?
Fantastic, Chris. Thanks so much for having me here today.
We are such a pleasure. And I know, you've really dedicated yourself around this particular area. When we look at, certain people that might be, suffering and dealing now with, PAT, post-abortion trauma. Can we talk a little bit about some of the facts and some of the things behind it for those that are listening that perhaps may be going through that themselves, or maybe perhaps that you might enlighten them that this could be something that maybe they just have not put a lot of emphasis on, and these are the things that could be causing them so much distress?
Absolutely, Chris. That's a very good question to open with, because the pain point for me was never putting it together that my life wasn't working because of a decision I had made 20 plus years ago in college. And the penny dropped in a certain way that all of a sudden my life made sense when I realized there was such a thing. I wasn't crazy, and that the self-sabotage and the abusive relationships and the addictions and even suicidal thinking, all this had anything to do with my decision to have an abortion in college. So for me, bringing enlightenment to other women that may not understand that some of the circular self-sabotage, etc., had anything to do with a previous decision made is where my heart lays in helping women heal, because I am not interested in a political or religious debate of any kind. I'm just here for the women that need healing.
Yeah. Well, I love the fact of, your transparency and your values come crystal clear through your voice and passion around this area. and really, understanding it, not just because, you're human and kind, but someone who's actually been through it herself and understands what some of these women are going through in this particular area. Can we talk a little bit about like what are some of the perhaps the symptoms and some of the things that, like, even in yourself, what you experienced, and then what led you now looking at what you had gone through and how you turned something that was really, tearing at you in your something tearing at you in your life, turn it into something positive that you can now give back and learn from?
Absolutely, Chris. So whether you're at a football game, at a concert, at a PTA meeting, or in the Senate, 1/3 of any audience anywhere has been touched by abortion. So this is a topic that is obviously in the media now, a lot happening since Roe was overturned, etc. But for many years it wasn't. And my illumination changed my life when the penny dropped. It happened to be on an airplane in a story I told in my most recent TEDx talk, which just recently has been submitted. And I'm believing that that will air and they'll release that. Previously, TED is not really warmed up to that topic much of abortion.
Yeah.
So I'm believing that its time has come. And again, I don't talk about a religious or political debate. I focus on the women that need healing, because the world tells you there's no problem. The world tells you there are no after effects. And I've lived differently. And I've interviewed hundreds of women over time, being on a board of directors at a pregnancy care center for 8 years after I found my healing. I've designed this course to help women thrive after coming to the realization that maybe parts of their life aren't working, or they could be thriving more if they only had the tools and techniques to use to get past what is largely unconscious.
Yeah, like you said, it's unconscious, and it could be impacting, a woman's self-esteem, her confidence. Maybe it's impacting her in her career and getting to that next level. It could be impacting her in getting into healthier relationships with others and so on. So there's so many different things that subconsciously this could be playing out in a negative way, but yet turning something like this into a positive, they can really learn to go within and find the strength to overcome it, which are things you teach in your program, and turn this into something positive. They can turn their lives around or find that harmony, so to speak, in their lives.
Absolutely. I can share my mission statement with you, which
Please do. Please do.
still a bit under construction, but I help Christian, heart-centered, loving women of faith who have begun their abortion healing journey and still feel stuck in unhealthy patterns to courageously step into their best lives by applying tools and techniques to overcome self-defeating behavior, fear, and anxiety, so they can thrive in a more confident, satisfying, peace-filled life and are a blessing to those around them.
Wow, I love it. And everybody that's listening to this is her revised mission statement. You're hearing this for the first time out here in the public, which is fantastic. And Christian women out there, so many of you don't have to suffer in silence. There's a sisterhood out there. There's also brotherhood too. There are guys
Amen.
out there that will support. And what would you say, if you could provide some insights, Britt, into, not that you have to talk about your entire program, because people have to find out and buy your program if they want to be able to learn, but maybe some insights that you could shed on what women that might be thinking that maybe this happened to them and perhaps this could be affecting them. What would be some of the first steps they could take or start to look at, in terms of awareness?
Well, interestingly enough, one of the other symptoms, Chris, is we're very good at numbing our emotions and kind of able to have that capacity. Doesn't help in flourishing relationships to be able to go deep and be vulnerable in a marriage or in a significant other relationship, or even with your children. It affects parenting. So there are many ways that thriving can become more of the norm in life rather than surviving.
Yeah. It's just that, like you said, like it's just They just settle for what is. And sometimes we can't change things of what is. We have to adapt at the moment. But if we can change, and it starts with the awareness, which you are, miraculously doing right now here on the show, sharing and putting out that, PAT is real and impacting probably more women than we could probably know at this point in time.
Well, you're
What would you?
absolutely right.
Yeah.
The numbers are unimaginable as far as when you say impacting more women than you know. Just in the last 40 years, Chris, in the United States only, there have been over 64 million abortions. So that is 64 million experiences. Many women go on to have more than one. The percentage is there. So I can't say 64 million women are affected, but certainly tens of millions of women walking around not knowing why their life's not working, not putting it together because the world tells you there's no problem.
Yeah.
And some call it's basically PTSD, which everyone knows as post-traumatic stress disorder, for abortion. The thing is, it just shows up years and years later.
Yeah.
So you asked about the class and the courses, and we've got 6 different modules to help women heal. And of course, the first one, as you pointed out, you nailed it, is awareness.
It's
Until
awareness.
you go, oh, maybe this had something to do with a decision I made previously.
Yeah.
That's the first step towards healing.
I love the fact, because sometimes it's hard, especially if a certain amount of time has gone by and they're just lost in not knowing why they are, why they're feeling the way they do and why their life hasn't really materialized in a way they had envisioned, because they've allowed the byproduct of this this PAT to run their lives. And so you talked about the awareness, which they're getting here, and there's obviously got to be a continuance of this. And I love the fact that you isolate this not just as another, post-traumatic stress syndrome, thing. This is specific to abortion trauma, and for women that have gone through it, and that there is a voice here for them. Maybe because they felt like maybe if they do know, they never had a voice for it. Someone that has gone through it and stands up and says, we can do something about it. What would you say for those women? It starts with the awareness. What would you share from your experience, like, in terms of your, process that you went through to kind of overcome this, the issues that came along with PAT, and how this now positioned you to where you are today, helping women to do the same?
Well, that's a very insightful question, Chris, because the healing, it's not a one and done. There's no magic pill. Many of us have gone through multiple healing modalities, multiple classes. And my course is, as the mission statement says, for folks that have started their journey, but really need some tools and techniques to learn how to thrive, basically having a higher quality of life. And grief, overcoming shame, going through compassion and forgiveness, even self-compassion, all those are different items addressed in my modules, and they help us rise above dwelling on something that was a painful experience, however that came about. And again, shame and blame have no part in anything that I'm doing here. And I begin really with healthy lifestyle habits and just sharing some hacks that I've gotten. They don't even have to apply just to women that have had an abortion. These are hacks that I got from some of my heroes in life. Zig Ziglar, when I was 16, I got to meet him. Tony Robbins did his firewalking center and all his work. I love those guys. They're out there doing great work. And what I realized for myself was I was spending time and funds and energy trying to fill a particular hole that those self-improvement courses weren't addressing. So I love all those, and they're great. And I love the fact they're doing wonderful work in the world. And this is more specific to me trying to plug this hole that I didn't realize was in my soul, that I just tried with every other self-help out there. So I don't know if that answered your
No, you
question.
did. It definitely did. It definitely did. And what I love is that, you approach this as someone that is, you do it from a coaching standpoint. You do it from a place of, hey, this isn't a one and done thing. There's no magic wand. Everybody has their own process. So, whatever the duration is going to be up to the individual and how willingly they're willing to work to improve each day. And everybody's impacted in a different way, so some people may go through it faster than others. So we're not here to compare and say, well, yeah, I did it in this amount of time, you should too. No, it comes down to each individual person, and so on. So we talked about awareness, like, and what would be like if there was one thing, like if a woman now she's aware of the fact that she had an abortion. This could absolutely be something she's dealing with because her life has never materialized to the way she envisioned it. What would be like one thing they can do right now to take that first step? Because it's probably a scary step to take, especially even though they've been suffering, it's all they know.
Probably to know, one, you're not alone. There are tens of millions of us out there, and we are here to hold your hand and to give you practical solutions that you can use on a daily basis to be a better parent, be a better co-worker. Just all around, self-love has a lot to do with it, and just acceptance of that was then, this is now. And there is a lot of self-care involved. I've got a whole module on that. I didn't even know really about self-care, or really how important it is to make sure that you take great care of yourself. How can you take care of others? I mean,
Well,
there's an
yeah, I love it. And if you could share a little bit into that, they always say like the oxygen mask concept, on a plane. What is the first thing that when an oxygen mask comes down, most women would put it on their child first before they put it on themselves. But how can you really help somebody if you haven't helped yourself?
So this is it. It's self-parenting. So you pretend you're that child. You're sitting next to that child, and you pretend that's you. And you're going to give yourself an oxygen mask for the first time, instead of taking care of everybody else's oxygen masks a lot of the time, because it's a freeing place to be.
Yeah, it is. Because like you said, if you could fill your cup each and every day, just imagine now through your example and your resourcefulness, how you can impact somebody else that might be just starting their journey out at that point. But you've already have come up a long way from where you started. So it's so important. And there's nothing better, I always feel, than by learning from the example of others and their resourcefulness. And that's exactly what you're doing here with, as the courage coach for women in this particular area.
Well, it takes courage. It definitely just takes courage just to become aware. And that's also where God comes in. Faith is an important part of the healing. And just like Jeremiah 29:11 says, beloved, I know the plans I have for you, to give you a hope and a future. And that's what God's saying to us and to every woman that needs healing.
Yeah. Like, it's the faith, having the faith in our higher power, but knowing that we have to do our part, and other people that are here to be a support to you. That's how, the universe, God, how you look at it, how he puts, those people at the right time that are there to help you, and just being open to do what you can do with your part to get better. I love that. Love that. Anything else that you would like to share without giving away everything? Because people have to learn, obviously, purchase your program in order to, really understand the full gist of how this can help them and give them a sense of community to, rise above the, what they've gone through. But any other insights do you think that are important that you would like to share here when it comes to this particular area?
Well, sure. You mentioned community, and that is an important part. So there is a lifetime access to this community of women who've gone through the program, and that will be available, as I mentioned, for lifetime.
Mm. Yeah, community is so important because, again, that support system, knowing that it's not that we're here to depend upon people, but knowing that we have support, we have empathy and kindness to encourage us to step up on those tough days that we're going through, and knowing that we have the courage that there will be another day to rise up and move to the next level. So I love that what you do within your community there.
Thank you. And helping women strengthen their relationship with their Savior,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, because that's about a relationship. It's not about religion. Right?
Yes.
It's about an actual relationship with
An
him.
actual relationship. There you go. So it doesn't have to be about the religion itself, unless that's what they choose, but knowing that they could have this relationship with God at any given time, no matter where they are.
Absolutely. And specifically, Jesus Christ, Lord of Lord and King.
There you go. Yes, because it is. Yes. And Jesus was a man of his example, no doubt about it. And, as when he, the parable where he didn't, give fish to people, he taught people how to fish for themselves. Exactly. You have to do your part. Yeah.
Yep. God who came in the form of man, just like us. And yes, that's what I intend to do, Christopher, is give people the healing that they can receive by teaching them to fish, not just handing them the fish, because then it's theirs forever. And you can take it into your family, into your community, and into your daily life, hopefully having much more just peace and a sense of well-being.
I mean, would you say that too? Like if a woman is able, let's say she's gone through this, but yet she's still young enough to have children, and now does it in a way where, hey, she's in a very healthy relationship with someone she loves, she's cared for, and when she has her child or children, that more likely now is going to be a better role model and a better example for her children than the other way around if she were, again, dealing and suffering from the PAT.
Absolutely. And many of my clients are mothers.
Yeah.
Many women do go on to have families, and they have found when I work with them that they are able to have deeper relationships with their children and their spouses.
Yeah. So true. And then and those children end up now when they're in a healthier atmosphere at home, tend to not repeat certain dysfunctional behaviors or communication, or maybe have more of a positive versus a negative attitude. They tend to respond rather than react to situations and other people, all the things that are going to make them a more self-confident adult when they become adults, and then pass that along onto their future children, not repeat the dysfunction that they grow up in. And so true.
Right. You're absolutely right, Chris, because it is handed down, just like many things in your environment, and it's silent. So the behavior is handed down, and it affects whether or not they know their parents went through abortion.
Yeah.
It's felt. So you're right. They can become more healthy, well-rounded individuals.
Yes. Yeah. And so, like you said, it's more than just, there's so many rewards and gifts to what you're doing in helping women from, coaching them through your programs, through your community, and knowing that this is a gift that can keep on giving, through their own example and resourcefulness going forward. Yeah.
Amen, brother. I'm just a funnel. God's doing it. I'm just the funnel here.
So powerful. So powerful. Well, I know we're getting towards the end of the show, and I want to make sure we have time to, let people know where they can get their hands on the course, learn more about how they can get in contact with you, anything that you're up to. But before we do that, in 30 seconds, anything that you would like to leave the audience with impact to really solidify everything that you shared here today?
You are a daughter of the King. You are royalty, and you are God's beloved child. Go forward knowing that.
Powerful. So go back and listen to that again. So you can listen to this again, even though we are live. This is a podcast. You can go back and listen to this anytime. So Britt, how can now people get in contact with you? What is the best way to get in contact with you? What are you up to? what is the next thing that you're doing as the courage coach for helping women with PAT and taking this to the next level?
Well, we're believing for that TEDx talk to be released, and I can be found at brittivy.com, BRITTIVY.com. And we'll have to trust your editors to add the rest of the material at a later time, Chris, because I've never been on social media. Even though creator of social media comes from my hometown, I've always stayed out of it. And that's part of the resistance when God said, you're going to do this. And I was like, I don't know. So I will have what you guys call social handles and all that.
We'll take care of that for you. We'll definitely make sure we play a role in a positive way, getting your message out there to the right people. In this
Chris,
case,
I'm sorry to jump on you there, but I just need to tell you, it's such a pleasure to talk with you. And I love how you uplift other people on your podcast and you shine a light on everybody else's hero. And you remind me, when I was at CNN News Radio in Silicon Valley, there was a DJ called Rockin' Raj, and you sound a lot like him. And he was so positive also. So anyway,
I love it.
Great.
I love it. Thank you so much for the compliment. We want to thank you for taking the time out of your schedule to be with us here today and sharing, this concept that now is really you're going to take it to the next level and really get it out there and really create more awareness and buzz around it to help more women really rise above. And we want to, again, thank you for taking the time to be with us here on the air to share that with us.
My pleasure, Chris. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. And listeners, we want to thank you each and every week for joining us here at Business Influencers with TALRadio.org. We highly encourage you to reach out to Britt and get in contact with her. If this is something you either impacts you personally or somebody you know, give them the greatest gift possible and connect that person with Britt. And I think when you do so, you can perhaps help that person change their life for the better. It just takes one connection to change everything, letting the universe and God, through Jesus Christ, do their thing to make it happen for you. Till then, everybody, we want to wish you a great rest of your day and a rest of your week, and we'll see you next week. Take care.